Hello, everyone. It's Emily here, and a big welcome back to the English Mastery Podcast. How's your day going? I hope you're having a great one. Today, we're going to talk about something we all do a lot: making plans with friends. You know, deciding when and where to meet up. This is super useful when you're speaking English, so let's learn some easy ways to do it. Think about it. You want to see your friend, right? Maybe go to the cinema or have a coffee. How do you ask them? There are lots of simple ways to invite someone to do something. You can say, "Do you want to go to the park on Saturday?" Want to is a short way of saying, "Do you want to?" For example, instead of saying the long sentence, "Do you want to watch a movie?" you can say the shorter version, "Want to watch a movie?" Or you can ask in a different way. "Are you free on Sunday afternoon?" Free means you don't have any plans. You can also be a little more polite and say, "Would you like to have lunch with me tomorrow?" Would like to is a polite way to invite someone. And if you have an idea, you can suggest it like this: "How about going to see a movie tonight?" How about is a good way to suggest something. See? Not too difficult. Now, what if your friend accepts your invitation? That means they say yes. Here are some easy ways they might agree. Yes, I'd love to. Love to means you really want to do it. For example, do you want to go swimming? Yes, I'd love to. Or they might say something like, "That sounds great." Great means very good. If someone says, "Let's go for pizza," you can say, "That sounds great." Another way to agree is, "Okay, that works for me." Works for me means the time is good for them. If someone suggests meeting at 3 o'clock, you can say, "Okay, that works for me." Now, let me tell you a little bit about how I usually make plans with my good friend, Sarah. We live in London, and we try to meet up about once a month. It's something we both really look forward to. Usually, one of us will send a simple text message. I might text Sarah and say, "Hey Sarah, are you free sometime next week to grab a drink?" Grab a drink is a casual way to say go for a drink, usually something like a cocktail. And Sarah might reply, "Hi Emily. Yes, I think so. How about Wednesday evening?" Then I might say, "Wednesday sounds good to me. What time shall we meet?" And Sarah usually suggests a place. She might say, "How about meeting at the Red Lion pub? It's near my work." Pub is a kind of bar in the UK. And I'd reply, "Perfect. Let's meet there at around 7 o'clock. Around means not exactly at 7, but close to that time. So once a month, we meet at a pub in London, usually for a cocktail, a special mixed drink. It's our time to really talk, We discuss our problems, talk about the things that are difficult or worrying us. And we also share advice, give each other ideas and suggestions about what to do. It's really nice to have that time to connect and support each other. But sometimes your friend might be busy and needs to decline your invitation. Say no. Here are some polite ways they can do that. "I'm sorry, I can't. I'm busy on Saturday." Busy means you have other things to do. Maybe you have to work or see another friend. Or they might thank you, but say no, like this: "Thanks for the invite, but I'm not free." Invite means the invitation. Someone asks you to a party, but you say, "Thanks for the invite, but I'm not free." They might also suggest a different time. "Maybe next time. I have other plans for Sunday. Next time means not now, but later. If you can't go to the cinema this week, you can say, maybe next time. I remember when my future husband, Tom, asked me out for a date for the first time. He said, "Would you like to go for dinner with me on Friday?" And I really wanted to go, but I was so busy that week with work. So I had to say, "Oh, Tom, that sounds lovely, but I'm not free on Friday. Maybe next time?" And another polite way to say no is, "That sounds fun, but I can't make it." Can't make it means you're not able to go. Later on, when Tom invited me to a concert, that was a nice idea. But I wasn't feeling very well that day. So I said, "That sounds fun, Tom, but I can't make it tonight. I'm not feeling so good." He was very kind and said we could go another time. It's important to be polite when you say no. Okay, so you've invited your friend, and they said yes. Now you need to arrange the time and place, decide when and where to meet. Here are some useful phrases. What time shall we meet? What time asks about the hour. And to decide where to go, you can ask, where shall we meet? Where asks about the location. Yeah, so with Sarah and me, when we decide to get together, we don't always have a plan for where to go right away. Sometimes one of us just says, "Let's meet up next week." And then we have to decide the details. I might text her and say, "Where shall we meet? Do you have any ideas?" So even with good friends, you sometimes need to talk and agree on the best place and time for both of you. After we decide on the day and maybe a general idea like, "Let's go for a drink," we usually text a little more to sort out a few other things. Sometimes we need to agree on what kind of place we feel like going to. Like, do we want a quiet pub? Or maybe somewhere with music? We also sometimes talk about what we want to do there. Like, are we just going to chat? Or should we try some of the food? And if the weather isn't great, we definitely check if the place has inside seating. Nobody wants to sit outside in the rain. Sometimes, if it's a new place for one of us, we might share the address, so we both know exactly where to go and don't get lost. And sometimes, just to be sure, we'll quickly confirm the time again. Like, so still okay for 7 o'clock? Just to make sure nothing has changed. It's just easier to double-check everything. So that brings us to the end of today's episode on making plans with friends. Let's quickly remember some of the key words we talked about today. First, we learned about inviting. When you invite someone, it means you ask them to do something with you. For example, do you want to go for a walk? That's an invitation. Then we talked about how to accept an invitation. To accept means to say yes. You can say things like, "Yes, I'd love to," or "That sounds great." We also learned how to decline an invitation politely. To decline means to say no in a nice way. You can say things like, "I'm sorry, I can't, I'm busy," or "maybe next time." And finally, we talked about how to arrange the time and place to meet. This means deciding what time and where you are going to see your friend. Remember these words and phrases, and you'll feel much more confident making plans with your English-speaking friends. Thanks for joining me today on the English Mastery Podcast. I hope this episode helps you feel more confident making plans with your friends in English. Keep practicing, and I'll see you next time.